Hey, I ain't gonna lie, man. I know what T.I. is going through with King, man. And I ain't never had that much money as T.I., but I know the feeling that he going through when you love your son, like, unconditionally, when you do anything for your son, when you done did time in prison, time in jail, and you done did enough time so your kids ain't got to do no time, and you try to teach them and guide them the path of the righteous way. I understand totally how T.I. feel, because I'm just now getting my life back in order, from a depression standpoint of my son getting in trouble. I never talked about it, so me seeing T.I. going through what he going through is big, because it's a dude on Instagram. His name is Nino Brown, or Nino 305 or something like that on Instagram. And I remember him saying, and this resonated with me hard, man, because, I start going back to the hood, and, I said, fuck it. He made me feel like, because my son went to prison, I was a failed father. He said that. He said, what did he say? He said, man, if your son go to prison, or your daughter hit the strip club, or your daughter be hoeing, you are a failed father. I believe that. That really hit me hard, and I really, really, really believe that. But you know what? Now that I got over the depression and I got my life back, I gained a lot of weight from all the depression, because I was going to my stove, doing my thing, and then eating and going home and laying in the bed because my son was looking at some years, right? Had to pay the lawyer $30,000. I had to get a good lawyer. I couldn't just get any fuddy-duddy, any everyday, lawyer. I hired a Jewish lawyer, gave him $10,000. He didn't even go visit my son at the jailhouse. So I said, whatever these people saying about my son, you just believe it. Whatever they filed charges with, you believe. Whatever the robberies, all that, you believe everything. You're not even gonna go talk and get his side of the story at the jail. The man told me, I don't go to jail. I said, run me some of my money back. I said, let me go get a real lawyer who's gonna go visit my son and listen to what my son has to say. Even though my son did those things that they said, he robbed those people that said he robbed them, right? Okay, so let's go back to Nino on Instagram saying I felt like a failed father. I went back to the hood, and I was in the hood, and some enemies came through, shot up my van real bad, put 10 holes in my van. I was like, damn. I said, I ain't supposed to be here, man. I'm supposed to be doing something great. I'm supposed to be doing something big. I'm supposed to be doing something productive. But I did all them things that T.I. said with less money than T.I., and I did all them things to try to save my son from prison. My son finally told me, and this hit me hard too. He finally told me, he said, Dad, this ain't your fault. This is all me. See, so the moral to the story is, whoever listens to this video, I don't want you to feel like a failed mother or a father, because these kids got to learn on their own. An old lady came in my store and she said, what's wrong? I said, man, I'm stressing. My son looking at some little time, and, he done robbed a few people. And she told me, she said, these kids got to learn on their own. Yeah, so I'm listening to the old lady. She said, these kids is hard-headed. She said, how many times you went to jail? I said, I've been to jail about 4 or 5 times. She said, see what I'm saying? So it made me go apologize to my mother and let my mom know I apologize for going to jail. But at the same time, I told my son a million times, I said, man, I done did enough time in jail and prison for the both of us, man. You don't gotta go. You don't gotta go. Whatever you want to do, I'm gonna set you up to do it, and I'm gonna finance whatever project you want to do. Sometimes they be looking at us and they be trying to be in competition with us for what? For what? The thing that I regret not having is a communication thing with my son, because my son lived with me from 2 or 3 years old till he was 17. And that's when he started smoking weed and, started hanging with the wrong people. And then, I guess the money I was giving him wasn't enough. He was driving and everything. I got him driving the car to school. It ain't too many people that drive to school in high school. You know what I'm saying? Now it's different. But the thing is, what we don't understand and what we'll never understand, and parents whoever watches this, if you're a parent, this is what you'll never understand. See, me, my generation, I was raised by my OG homies, my uncles, my grandfather, elite black men, black men that didn't have a good education, that wasn't that sharp, but I was raised by men. This generation is raised by the internet. These generations, that's why everything is so different. That's why the things you say to them, it don't resonate with these kids because they being raised by the internet. My son used to be on the internet watching Chief Keef, and nigga, it made him. I asked him, I said, so he wrote me a letter one time and said, oh no, I was making him catch up on some work because I let him go stay with his mama and things start going bad. He started smoking weed. They hide in the grades. So I had to go to school and see the grades. And the man said, he said, man, I think your son probably smoking weed or something because if you look, he had 4 A's, a B, and a C on his report card this semester. Now he got all fails already. He said, this is conducive with doing some type of drugs or something. So I know my son started smoking weed. And I regretted letting him go stay with his mama because I knew he missed her because he been with me all his life. And he told me my house was like jail. So when he went to jail, I asked him, I said, that's how my house is? He said, nah. He said, I was wrong, Dad. I said, but anyway, he was in his room one day. I was making him catch up on some work, right? And I said, he held up the paper. He said, how is this going to help me in life? It was some math stuff, right? How is this going to help me in life? So what I did was when my son got to prison, when he got in jail, I wrote him a letter and said, how is jail going to help you? I said, tell me how jail is going to help you. Since this math can't help you in life, how is jail going to help you? He was like, you right, Dad. I was wrong. So I see what T.I. is going through, and it ain't T.I.'s fault. He could feel like a failed father. He could feel like all that. Let Nino Brown 305 tell it on Instagram, you a failed father because your kids go to the streets. The streets is powerful, first of all. So mothers and fathers, keep your kids in some sports, some kind of academic work, whatever they love. Try to get the money to help them get to it because the streets going to take them. The streets will take them, and you don't want the streets to get your son or your daughter and have her in prison or have her, you know what I'm saying, have him or her in the streets. And, you know, because the streets will take your kids and then send them back to you a way you don't want them to come back. So my message to the dude, Nino Brown, hey, we ain't failed fathers. Just sometimes these kids have a hard head. They being raised by the internet. No matter what you telling them, they don't care. My son was looking at Chief Keef from Chicago. I asked my son what jail looked like because I knew what jail looked like, but what it looked like in there. He said everything I was looking at on the internet before. I didn't even know my son was on the internet searching what jail looked like. So he already knew. He already knew where he was going because I told him, I said, bro, you keeping up all this bullshit, but I didn't really know he was out robbing people. So I would have took the car that I gave him. And he wouldn't have no transportation to go rob nobody. He going with his friends and they robbing people and, you know, taking phones and just man, wasn't even getting enough money for you getting a record. Now he got a record and it wasn't even worth it. You didn't even get no money for a record. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, so teach your kids, first of all, teach your kids not to hate another race. Teach your kids not to hate the same race. Teach your kids that your same color is not your enemy. Teach your kids right from wrong, which we've been doing, but try to keep your kids out of the streets, ladies and gentlemen. It's very important. I had to get this message because I see what T.I. is going through with King. And I see him telling, I know T.I. is telling his son, you know, T.I. made a comment one day about 20 years ago, 20 years ago. He said, I'm trying to keep my daughters out of the strip club and my sons out of prison. Now look at King, man. I don't understand why these kids go the route, but I do understand that the internet and the streets is more powerful than any parent that you could do. You got to keep them kids, when they're young, you got to keep them into something. Fudge that video game. You got to keep them into something that's powerful, that you got to figure out whatever your kids like, whatever they love, That's what you got to have them invested in. You got to go make some type of money to keep your kids into some. One of my partners told me, I think he's from Lebanon. They sell clothes. I buy a lot. I used to buy a lot of my clothes from them until I got my own clothing line. I said, man, why? I said, his name is what's his name? Junaid Muhammad. I said, Junaid, why you ain't having no kids, man? He said, man, Greedy, because if you don't get them a good education, they gonna do bad stuff. Now, this is somebody from a whole different country, bro. Whole different country. And for him to say that, I said, what? I said, that's powerful, bro. He said, I'm gonna say it again for y'all in the back who don't hear me. He said, if your kids don't get a good education, they gonna do bad stuff. He ain't never lied. He ain't never lied. Because my son, one of the things my son told me, and I'll never forget it to this day. My son, 29 years old. He said, I hate school. I said, damn. I said, why do most black kids hate school? And we so smart. They so intelligent. They brilliant. They bright. Why do black kids hate school? If you get any value from this video, please like, follow, and subscribe. Like, follow, and subscribe. It's only a good message. If you can't subscribe, I understand it. Please like the video. It helps it move around in the YouTube atmosphere. People can like it, share it, comment, all that. Do whatever. Push it around. It helps it grow legs and move around on the internet. I appreciate all my likers, my commenters, and my subscribers. I love y'all. This is our channel together. I appreciate y'all helping it grow. See you on the next one.